Hey there, my name's Alyssa Castillo, and today I'm doing my mass media and pop culture analysis on one of my favorite magazine publications, which is the Magnolia Journal by Chip and Joanna Gaines. Now, Magnolia, the whole phenomenon with them has kind of swept and taken over the media, the nation, and it's just been really interesting to watch the way that their whole lifestyle brand has kind of blown up in the last few years, which has been super awesome. But I personally love this journal publication. It's just so awesome. There's great images and there's a lot of great articles and different things. So the first thing you need to know about this for the rest of my presentation is that this publication is based primarily towards women. Their target audience is very clearly that throughout the articles. And even the advertisements that are in it, they have a lot of articles and advertisements for all things homemaker. So there's lots of great recipes. There's tons of like home decor tips and ideas, which obviously is coming straight from Joanna herself. She like loves that kind of stuff. As that's what she does in her line of work. And there's a lot of gift ideas and other things like that, beauty products. So it's very clear that this is heavily driven and targeted to women overall. And that can kind of be seen throughout the magazine. And we're going to look at some of those things here in just a second. So the first advertisement, pretty much when you open the front cover of the magazine, is this one right here, which is the RoC Retinol Correction Cream. And so it's this line of anti-aging beauty products. And I thought that was really interesting because the kind of philosophy that they have in and throughout just the imagery and articles in this magazine kind of presents this idea that image is everything, that presentation is everything. They have tablescapes and different things in this magazine. I thought it was interesting that one of the things that was kind of subtly and subliminally pushed right here is that the way that you present yourself and the way that you present your skin, the way that your skin looks is kind of a big deal, because this is the first advertisement that you see as soon as you open it up. This idea that there's something that needs to be corrected about your skin, or even though it says right here on the advertisement, this is not a quick fix, this is a decision to make beauty last. This idea of holding on to youth and kind of preserving that, and again preserving the presentation that you make to other people, I thought was really interesting. Just kind of this being the very first thing that you see, wanting to put not only your best home, which they're kind of giving you tips for throughout the magazine, but your best self forward. I thought that was an interesting kind of thought to put together. Now, the second advertisement that I pulled and picked and thought was interesting was this one for their Magnolia Homes paint line. So their, like I was talking about earlier, their brand, their lifestyle brand has kind of taken over. They just released a whole line of home decor partnered with Target called Hearth and Hand just this month. And kind of wanting to bring a piece of that farmhouse charm or the Magnolia way. It was really interesting to see. So I thought it was funny that in and throughout their magazine publication, there was a lot of advertisements that were kind of not pushing, but promoting their own products. So this was a line of paint that they did, and they partnered with Kills to create it, and Joanna created all of the colors and everything that's inside this line. And so I thought it was interesting that they're not only kind of selling this idea of image and this idea of putting your best self forward and making a good presentation of yourself and your home and all these different things, but they're also pushing this idea that their way is kind of the superior way, because they don't have too many other brands listed that they have not themselves partnered with, or is something that they created on their own. So I thought that was really interesting as well. Just kind of this whole idea that creating this kind of idyllic sense that you will have your best home and your best self if you kind of buy into the products and things that they are creating. And this is another one that I found really interesting. Just even the way that whoever the marketing people for American Standard, I just thought that this was a great way to look at this product. But the product that they're kind of advertising here is a self-cleaning toilet. Which I thought was really interesting, especially with the imagery that is just kind of right above it, with this woman with this distraught look on her face, knowing that there's these relatives or friends or unexpected guests, unexpected people that she maybe didn't prepare for or plan to come to her home. And this idea that you can make your life a little easier and you can eliminate some stress on yourself by purchasing this product. And again, this is kind of creating this idea that your home has to be in a certain manner or a certain presentation in order to be worthy for people to come inside. So this toilet cleans itself, which is supposed to kind of bring this sense of peace and remove this woman's sense of stress when unexpected guests do in fact tend to stop by and come over. It kind of gives them that sense overall, the sense of losing the stress and being able just to welcome people in. Again, this whole idea that your home has to be a certain way in order to be acceptable and presentable to other people, which I thought was really interesting. Just this kind of idea that we can't just have community and just have people come and take part and be a part of our lives, but that our homes have to be in a certain manner in order to be acceptable, and just kind of pushing that idea overall I thought was really interesting as well. And then there were other advertisements for a few snacks and different things, and I thought it was just interesting the way that they laid it out. So the whole idea behind Magnolia is that they're trying to create products and create brands and create things that are attainable to just your average Joe, to be able to make your house as beautiful and grand and wonderful as Chip and Joanna tend to on their reality show, and just in their lives. And so the next advertisement here is for pita chips, and I just thought the slogan was really interesting and kind of in line with what they were, just this idea of fancy but not too fancy, which really just communicated the overall heart that I was kind of sensing throughout the magazine, was that things can be beautiful and those beautiful things can be attainable, and that's what they're trying to create. So it really feels like they're kind of once again pushing their personal agenda of wanting to sell, again, this whole lifestyle, this whole Magnolia Farmhouse brand lifestyle overall. I just thought that that was coming through pretty clearly in the way that this advertisement was just laid out. And even what it was next to, within the magazine, it was next to a bunch of articles about hosting dinner parties, and I thought that that was really interesting too, that you kind of have this product that goes with that idea, kind of, again, just this subliminal messaging, like, hey, this is what you need in order to be a successful host or hostess, whatever that kind of looks like. I thought was really interesting. Whoever is curating their advertisements and kind of pairing them up is doing a fantastic job overall. And then last but not least, this was an advertisement for Goldfish, and this was right next to a bunch of like family-friendly articles where it was talking about how to have community even within your own family and creating that time and creating that family space. And I just thought it was interesting that just with the way that this advertisement is laid out, kind of this little goldfish family that is together, just kind of bringing further and reinforcing this idea of community, in a way that you can have community, again, is to purchase these snacks and to buy into this mentality. So I just thought it was really interesting the way that it kind of plays with your mind in just a psychological way, in a way that you might not necessarily recognize just at first glance. And it was really interesting just to flip through and to learn and to see just those things that are kind of on a deeper level with this publication overall. But I really felt like overall the kind of messages that were being sent about the social group that this was kind of geared toward, and the target group, which was women for sure, is the idea of community. Once again, just kind of talking about being able to have people over to your home, like with that self-cleaning toilet, with being able to have people over without the stress of your home not being in order, having food that is fancy but not too fancy for the people that you host. So just really reinforcing this idea of community, also kind of enforcing an idea of order, just an idea of wanting things to be a certain way, and cleanliness, and kind of presenting that one way is the best way. And that kind of leads into just this other idea of presentation, which I really thought was very heavily played out just throughout the entire thing, even with the pita chip brand and different things like that. So that is it, and that's kind of what I learned and got from my analysis of these advertisements overall. So I hope you enjoyed.